Hi, my name is Rachel Davis. I'll be teaching Chem 131 this semester. This is spring 2017, and I am making this video because it's supposed to snow this weekend, and so there is a possibility that class will not be able to meet on Monday. And so I'm going to go ahead and record this video just in case I need to use it to make up for the class if we end up having to close the college on Monday. So most of the first day of class is spent going over the syllabus, talking about where to find all your stuff on Blackboard and all that content. So that's what I'll be going over in this video. If you want to go ahead and get your syllabus out, it's available on Blackboard under the syllabus tab, so you can follow along with me, or you can just watch the screen and I'll go over the syllabus, and then I'll switch over to Blackboard and show you where to find all of your assignments. So let's go ahead and switch over to the screencast.
Here's the syllabus that can be found at any point in time on your Blackboard webpage under Syllabus. So this is your guide to the class, everything you need to know about the class. A lot of the questions I field, especially in the first couple of weeks of class, can be answered here in the syllabus, so please read through it carefully. So this is Chem 131. You're in section W01. It is 3 credit hours and 3 contact hours. It has a co-requisite of taking Chem 131A, which is the laboratory component to this class, which is 1 credit hour and 3 contact hours. The two classes are linked, which means that you cannot take one without the other, and you will receive 1 grade for both classes. I combine the grade from Chem 131 with 131A, and that is where your grade for both classes comes from. Deadline to drop this class without a grade penalty is March 22nd. The little more than past halfway of the class, meaning by that point in time you'll have at least 2 if not 3 tests graded, and you'll see what your current average is in the class. So I'm Rachel Davis. You can call me Mrs. Davis. My office is in the health building in room F110C, which is downstairs, and my office hours are Mondays and Wednesdays 11 to 12, and which is about an hour before class, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 3:30. I'm also available by appointment at other times. If you just send me an email or stop by my office and look at my door schedule, and you can see what other times I'm available for an appointment. My email address is listed, and you can email me or give me a call. If you call this number, that is my office number. If it is outside of office hours, I may not be able to get to the voicemail and get back to you until the next time I have office hours. So don't call this number on a Friday afternoon and expect to get a call back anytime soon, because I won't get it until I get back on Monday. Best way generally to contact me is via email. I check my email frequently throughout the day during the week, and on the weekends I try and check it at least once or twice a weekend. But occasionally, depending on what I've got going on, an email I receive during the weekend may not be answered until Monday. But in general, during the week, I try and answer every email within 24 hours. If it's been more than 24 hours, please send another email and make sure it did not get lost. So this is an introductory course for chemistry, so we'll go over all of the topics of general chemistry, but we're just going to introduce them. So this is kind of like General Chemistry 1 and General Chemistry 2 rolled into one class, in that we will cover all the same topics that are covered, but because we're doing it in half the time, we're only going to skim the surface. We're not going to dive too far in depth with the concepts, because we're just introducing them rather than really fully investigating all of the topics of chemistry. And this class has been approved to satisfy the Comprehensive Articulation Agreement, meaning that if you transfer to a 4-year public college within North Carolina, they should accept this as a transfer class. Format of this class is web assisted, meaning that we meet once a day for lecture from 1 to 3:50, and then we will meet for lab on Wednesdays at the same time period. And you can expect to spend about 1 to 2 hours outside of the class reviewing the material, doing practice problems, completing assignments and such. But there will be assignments given online. But there will be assignments given online, and it's the student's responsibility to obtain a computer with a reliable internet connection so that you can complete those assignments on your own. Student learning outcomes, we will cover the first 9 chapters of your textbook, which if you purchase the textbook from our bookstore, it should only contain those 9 chapters so that you don't have to pay for the full textbook when we're only going to use the first 9. Our textbook from our bookstore is a custom book, but it comes from Denniston General Organic and Biological Chemistry, 9th edition, with Connect Access. If you purchase it anywhere but our bookstore, it may not have come with Connect Access, but Connect Access is a required material for the class. Your homework and your test materials come from Connect, so if you do not have access to Connect, you cannot pass the class. So make sure that you, if you did not buy your textbook from our bookstore, that you purchase access to Connect. You will also need a scientific calculator. It does not have to have graphing function as long as it is one that can do scientific notation, and I recommend using a calculator that you're comfortable with. So if you're not comfortable with using a graphing calculator, don't use a graphing calculator. Use whichever one you are comfortable with as long as it can do scientific notation. In general, we'll cover about 1 chapter per week throughout the semester, and about every other chapter we will stop and take a test on the 2 chapters that we just took, and at the end of the semester we will have a comprehensive final exam. 40% of your grade comes from test, 20% comes from the cumulative final exam, 15% are quizzes, homework, and class participation assignments, and then 25% of your weighted grade comes from the lab, which is Chem 131A. And then whatever grade you receive, you'll see for both Chem 131 and 131A on your transcript. We are on a 10-point scale, so 90 and above is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, and such. I try and make every effort to return assignments within 1 week. Homework is submitted online, and scored feedback is immediate. If you want expanded feedback on your specific homework, or if you have worked out a problem and you can't seem to figure out where you're making a mistake, please just take a picture of your work and send it to me in email, and I would be happy to look over it and give you more individualized feedback than you get from the automatic Connect system. Critical success strategies you can read on your own. There is some, except I do want to point out that you do have to have a background in math for this class. There is no technical prerequisite, but there is the assumption that if you're taking a quantitative science, such as chemistry, that you do have basic math skills. By basic math skills, I mean you are comfortable with arithmetic. You can multiply a fraction or divide by a fraction without getting lost. You can go in and out of scientific notation. You can rearrange a simple formula. Density equals mass divided by volume. So what would volume be equal to in terms of density and mass? And plug in numbers and solve for it. You do not need to know trigonometry or higher level algebra or calculus for this class, but you do need to know at least be comfortable with arithmetic. If you need a refresher on your math, on Blackboard there is a series of math tutorials that are meant to refresh your math skills or help you with scientific notation if that's something that you are not as familiar with. A lot of the numbers we deal with in this class are in scientific notation, so make sure you're comfortable with it before moving forward with the chemistry concepts. All right, attendance policy. To be officially enrolled in the class, you must attend a class by this 10% census date, which for this class is January 17th. Late arrivals and or early departures may count towards total absences. What this means is if you're late for class and you are less than 15 minutes late, that will count as a tardy. 3 tardies adds up to an absence. If you are more than 15 minutes late for class, then it will count as an absence regardless. If you get up halfway through the class and just leave without any explanation whatsoever, then I will go back to the roster and mark you as being absent. So if there's something comes up and you need to leave the class, please let me know what is going on, because if I just see you get up and leave, I'm going to go ahead and mark you as absent. Attendance. If you miss more than 12.5%, which is 2 classes in this in this course 2 lecture classes and 2 lab classes, then you will be dropped. You can be dropped at any point during the semester, even if it is before the final drop date, which is March 22nd. And these absences are for any reason. It could be even a legitimate sickness, or you have a doctor's note. It still counts as an absence. Now, if you have something like a doctor's note, then I'd be happy to let you make up the work, and it will be excused as far as your coursework is considered, but it must still count towards the number of allowed absences. But since we only have 1 lecture a week, missing 2 classes is the equivalent of missing 2 whole weeks of lecture. So if you miss 3 weeks of lecture, then you're probably not doing so well in the class anyway. So make sure you come to class every week. If something comes up and there's some sort of extenuating circumstances that cause you to be dropped, you can request reinstatement and show documentation for why you had all of those absences, and we can discuss that at that point in time. If you are in student-related or the college-related activities such as Student Government Association or athletics, then you must still adhere to this attendance policy, meaning although those absences, if they are approved by your supervisor, are excused as far as coursework, they will still count towards your allowed number of absences. The rest of these are mostly general policies that are the same for every class, and at the end we have the student acknowledgement here. And this needs to be filled out and submitted on Blackboard. Because we are now going paperless, we are no longer keeping track of paper copies of syllabi or student acknowledgements. So let's go ahead and go over to Blackboard and show you how to do that part. So here's your Blackboard page. This is the Chem 131 spot. The Chem 131A Blackboard shell is an empty shell. I've gone ahead and put everything you need for both the class and the lab in one place, so they are both here on this one shell, so you don't have to switch back and forth between both shells. And so you can go ahead and ignore the 131A shell. That will remain empty and unused this semester. So the drop point is the announcements page. Any announcements that I have will be posted here, so the first one is already up there. If I need to cancel class for some reason, there will be an announcements posted here, and it will also be sent to your email. Any other important information that can't wait for the next class period, I will post here as well. And here is where your syllabus was if you haven't already found it. So technically you have a separate syllabus for the lecture and the lab. The syllabus for the lab, the main difference is that it has all of the laboratory safety information in it, but we'll go over that when we have lab on Wednesday. So the student acknowledgement form, which you saw in PDF format, that here it's in PDF format here. It was in document format here. Whichever format you prefer is fine. You just need to submit it electronically here, which means either download the PDF and then fill it out, download the syllabus document, copy and paste that last page to a new document, fill it out. Or if you really prefer, you can just print it off, fill it out by hand, and scan it in. But then submit it here where it says Student Acknowledgement. So click here and upload your file. Please do not give me a paper copy or send it to me in an email, because I cannot submit it on your behalf, and it must be submitted here to Blackboard. The rest of the general policies from the syllabus can also be found here. So general, what happens if you were caught cheating, what happens, why you can't bring minors on campus, confidentiality policies, campus resources, disability services, all that information can be found here that you can read through. Over also here we have the assignments tab. Here's where all of your homework and such will appear. So we have chapter 1 for the first assignments here. All of this is through Connect. So I've got a PowerPoint presentation. During lecture, I don't follow the PowerPoint word for word, but I do use it to kind of keep track of where we're at. but I don't sit there and read off the slides, and I certainly don't give students enough time to sit there and copy down slide by slides, because I don't feel like it's a very good use of our time. So if you really want to have things like definitions from slides copied down, do that before class, because I'm not going to sit on each slide long enough for you to copy it during class. So if you want to go ahead and print that off or download it ahead of time, you can do so there. All of our homework assignments and our tests are through Connect. If you've never used Connect before, or you've never used it for a science class, here are video tutorials for using it. If we click on that, there is a general orientation with us completing assignments on Connect, and then also videos on how to use these features of Connect that are specific to chemistry, specifically the answer palette there. So let's back up. The first time you click on any Connect assignment, it's going to take you straight to the Connect page and prompt you at that point in time to register for the class. And at that point you have three options. You can either enter the Connect Access Code card that came with your textbook if you purchased it new from our bookstore. If you purchase your textbook somewhere else and it did not come with Connect Access, you will have to purchase one semester's worth of access to Connect. If you are planning on purchasing it but haven't yet, but you need to go ahead and start the homework, then you can start Courtesy Access, which is the third option on that registration page. And that gives you 2 weeks of access to the class, so you can go ahead, see the ebook, start your homework, and not fall behind in the class. So the first chapter we have is Chapter 1. We have a Learn Smart assignment and a homework assignment that are both listed here. Both are required materials. They both count towards your grade. So if you want to go ahead and click into them and look around, you can. Those won't be due, however, until Friday. So if we end up being snowed out and can't attend class on Monday, then we'll have to start the lecture during the lab period on Wednesday, so that you'll be able to go ahead and get that homework started. Oh, sorry, that was due Monday, the 16th. We have the calendar. The calendar shows you everything that is as far as due dates that are coming up. And let me click out so you're just looking at our class. So our class, the first assignments are due on Monday the 16th here. Contacts, if you can't remember where my office hours are, or can't remember where my office is, or what my phone number is, that's where you can find all that information. Your Gmail, so that you can email me. I cannot accept emails from personal email accounts due to privacy laws, so you have to email me from your JCC email. Your grades. I keep the grade book updated throughout the semester along with a running weighted average, so you can see not only what all of your grades are, but also what your current average in the course is, and you can check that at any point in time under My Grades. The rest are, let's see, we've got Blackboard Help. If you are not familiar with Blackboard, or you're having trouble with it, go to Blackboard Help. If you're having technical help, down here on Technical Help, it has contact information for JOLT, the Jaguar Office of Learning Technologies. If you do most of your homework at home, I highly recommend going ahead and writing down this phone number somewhere, putting on a sticky note, sticking on your computer, somewhere where it's handy, because if you're having issues that cause you to not even be able to log into Blackboard, this is the phone number that you need to call. Now, they only have regular business hours here, Monday through Friday here. But if it's during regular business hours, they're the ones who can help you with login issues. If your password is expired and you're unable to log into your account, they're the ones that will help you. So make sure you have that number handy, because you will not be able to log in if you're having difficulties to get to this number. All right, so back here, we have lab safety protocol that we will go over during lab on Wednesday. The lab handouts will go over. Connect Help. If you're having trouble with Connect, here are some ideas. All else fails, their 1-800 number. Please do not send me an email asking me for technical assistance with why your computer won't connect to Connect, because I'm not a computer technician. I cannot determine remotely what is wrong with your computer. If you have a personal laptop and you want to bring it to class and have me look at it, I will do my best. But especially if you're working with a Mac, I'm not much use with Macs. Best thing to do is to call their number. They do have an email line, but their emails may not be answered for 24 hours. I've had them take as long as 48 hours to get back to an email. So if you're looking at something being due in the next 48 hours, do not send them an email. Calling them is much better. And they have decent hours for their call line. And the direct access to Connect if you needed it to. Academic help, we have a lot of academic help here on campus that is free to you. In addition to the library, we have online tutoring, and we have the Academic Skills Center. And the Academic Skills Center is in Wilson 1111. They are down at the same hallway where the bookstore is. And you can go there and request assistance at any point in time. But I do recommend if you think that there's any chance you may need a tutor at some point in time this semester, go ahead and go down there the first week of class and request a tutor. That way you can ensure that they will have still availability of tutors. As the semester goes on, especially after the first test, their tutors tend to get booked up, and you may not be able to get an appointment with one at a time that's convenient for you. So even if you're on the fence about whether or not you want a tutor, just go ahead and sign up for one and get on the list. That way, best case scenario, later you don't need it and you end up canceling it. But I highly recommend, if there's any chance you think tutoring might be helpful to you, that you go ahead and sign up for that now in the first week of class. Math tutorials. These are the tutorials I was talking about earlier for refreshing you on the math. So we have a unit conversion tutorial, a tutorial on rearranging formulas, and this is a link to a website that has help for entering scientific notation into a variety of calculators. If you cannot find your specific calculator model in this list, then just Google, how to enter scientific notation and at TI 287. I don't know. Just look up, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of YouTube videos of people entering scientific notation in your specific model of calculator. Also, make sure you bring your calculator with you to class every lecture. That way you can follow along when I'm working out the problems on the board and make sure you get the same number that I'm getting. That way, if you are plugging it into your calculator wrong and you don't get the same number, we can fix the problem right then and there. Raise your hand, let me know. I'd be happy to come over and take a look at your calculator, and we can figure out what's going wrong. I have a tutorial here on scientific notation. If you are not familiar with scientific notation, please look at this video and watch. It's only 7 minutes, not a very long one, and learn how to move numbers in and out of scientific notation, because that is assumed in Chem 131 that you are familiar with that. Dimensional analysis, factor label method, parts per million, these are just other math tutorials that you can use to help you out in the class. So those are all of the aspects of Blackboard and the syllabus. So what you must do before the next class, preferably if you're able to, is on the syllabus tab, go ahead and download the student acknowledgement form, fill it out and submit it here, student acknowledgement, and that way on Wednesday when we come in for lab, we can just jump into the lab material and then start the lecture, and we will be good to go for Chapter 1. So I will see you on Wednesday, and go ahead and bring all of the lecture material that you need for Chapter 1.